Okay. Okay. Yep. So sometimes those could run dry.
Okay, I'd like to call the meeting to order. I ask everyone to stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Roll call.
Ross?
Yes.
Andrea? Here. Eric?
Yes.
Nancy? Here. Laura? Here. Jake?
Here. Okay, all of you should have received a copy of the January 8th council meeting minutes. Are there any corrections or additions to those? Do I have a motion to accept them as distributed? Motion by Ross, is there a second?
Yeah.
Second by Eric. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passed. You should have also received actually the special council meeting minutes. I sent them out this morning. I accidentally sent all of you the special council meeting agenda with the council packet, so I sent the minutes out this morning. Were there any corrections or additions to those? I have a motion to accept those as distributed.
So moved.
I have a motion by Laura. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Nancy. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passed. And finally, all of you should have received a copy of the January 22nd Committee of the Whole meeting minutes. Any corrections or additions? I have a motion to accept those as distributed.
So moved.
I have a motion by Ross. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Audrea. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passed. Administrative reports. I've only got one item for right now. A comment was made at our last committee of the whole meeting, and it was addressing a possible malware problem with our internet system and paying bills online. And I just wanted to say in a public meeting that turned out to be incorrect information. The village never did have a malware problem. It was on the user's end that was trying to pay his bill. And him and Wendy had talked about that when that happened immediately. And this has been a year and a half, 2 years ago. And it was said he doesn't pay his bill online anymore. He figured out the problem was on his end, and he still pays his bill online to this day. So the village has never had a malware problem. So I want to caution council members not to make comments like that unless you know 100% for sure that there was a problem. Because we live stream the meetings, that goes out to everyone who watches that, and then that just feeds into the social media and everything else as if, the village website's unsafe or something to those lines. And that never was the problem whatsoever. So I just caution everyone to be careful making comments in a public meeting like that. That's all I've got for now. We'll move on to the village solicitor's report.
Nothing at this time.
Police chief's report.
I have nothing at this time.
Does anyone have any questions for the chief?
Are we gonna have any problem with staffing with what we have now with this? We had 2 leave, correct?
Yes, we had one that left his technical last day, would have been over this weekend. Have another officer that's leaving, his last day will be this Saturday. So that puts us at 6 officers. So that's still keeping coverage, on the road and everything, keeping all the shifts. Staff, we just won't have shifts with running multiple officers for a little bit until we can hopefully get those positions filled.
Do we have anybody that's even started the process?
I did one interview just a little bit ago. Out of posting the positions, I think I've had a total of 3 people reach out that had their APATA certifications.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
The village administrator is not present this evening. His wife had surgery and he's home taking care of Brenda. The village engineer, Susan, is not here. She basically didn't have anything new to report other than everything's kind of slow and things are just chugging along as usual. So she didn't have anything special for the village council at this time. Fiscal officers report.
Just want to let everybody know I heard from my auditor starting the 2022-2023 audit year soon. So you might get emails from him because I know they always ask if you know any fraud or anything like that. So just wanted to go with.
Does anybody have anything for the fiscal officer? Thank you. Legislative reports, Nancy?
I just had a couple of things. I wanted to, Alan sent out an email. I don't think the two new council members got it about the Mount Vernon project. It's like a quick I think each one is like 6 minutes or whatever. I did complete that. It's very informative. If you guys want to watch that if you haven't. And also if you're interested in joining up, signing up for the council class, please see Wendy.
Actually, we had the, both of them, we've already watched it, the Mount Vernon project.
Okay.
And
I know Jay signed up.
And Jay is signed up for the, and if council, and another a letter came in the mail today from the municipal league.
Okay.
Just kind of reminding everybody about the, if you wish to go to the training class they have for new elected officials. If so, you need to let Wendy know pretty much immediately because that's got to get mailed in. We've got to get that taken care of.
Excuse me, this is the one we did, you had for several weeks? Okay.
Yeah, if Wendy had already sent an email out to everyone about it.
Thank
And
you.
just to let everyone know, that class does not count towards your required 3 hours that you must attend. The 3-hour course that is required by all elected officials at some time during their term, that is put on, I believe, by the state auditor's office. And right the moment they have nothing scheduled for that, and it looked like on their website, they may be going to offer that continue to offer that online. They did that during the COVID time. They never used to, and then they started it during COVID. I think they found out they had more people watching it at that point in time. So just to let everybody know, when we get the information on that, I will inform everyone of where we're at with that as well.
So the in-person class, that doesn't qualify, correct?
That is
Okay.
correct. That does not meet that qualification. But the in-person one is really good for new council members. I mean, they cover some of the things that 3-hour course discusses. And it has, what was there, about 5 or 6 different items that they go over at the in-person course. And it's really good for newly elected officials. And it's a good refresher for everybody if people wish to attend. So if you do want to go, be sure and let Wendy know.
That's all.
Okay, Ross, do you have anything?
No, I do not.
Eric?
I just want to say that I think Mike Struckman did a great job during the little snow we had. And I don't know if I can get passed on to him, but I mean, all the roads that I drove through seemed to be clear. And I mean, he was definitely prepared. So that was much appreciated, I know, by everybody that I talked to.
Okay, I'll see that he gets that message. Andrea?
I second that message, and that's all.
Jay? No, nothing. Laura? Okay, we'll move on to committee reports. Parks and Rec Committee. Nancy, do you have anything at this time?
I do not.
Okay. Public comments. We have signed up to speak tonight is Matt Chafin. Matt? Take the podium.
Thank you. You put a timer on me.
You have 5 minutes.
Mr. Mayor, members of council, counselor, my name is Matt Chafin. I'm running for Common Pleas Court here in Pickaway County. Judge Neese is stepping down after 27 years of service in this open seat. Just want to tell you a little bit about myself. I'm a Taze Valley kid. We live over in Walnut Township. Although my career's been in Franklin County, I've served on the Harrison Township Zoning Board, Walnut Township Zoning Board, Taze Valley Mock Trial Program for about a decade. I'm currently a member of the Pickaway County Community Foundation. But my career has been in Columbus, and it's kind of had 3 legs to it. First leg is I was an assistant prosecuting attorney in Franklin County, and I had the privilege of appearing in front of any number of 16 different common pleas court judges. I know it's like to stand in front of a judge that's fair and impartial, listening to your arguments, and also know what it's like to stand in front of a judge that's not listening to your arguments. I took what I learned and moved on to the Ohio Board of Tax Appeals, which is actually Ohio's tax court. Now, I wasn't a judge, but I was a hearing examiner. I had a courtroom and a court reporter and the whole 9 yards. And for 11 years, I heard cases. I called balls and strikes in that courtroom. And I took what I learned from the prosecutor's office to be outwardly fair and impartial to counsel. Maybe I didn't appreciate your argument last week, but you had a new client with you today. After one fun fact is appeals from the Board of Tax Appeals is a direct right of appeal to the Ohio Supreme Court. So the rulings that I made in that courtroom were scrutinized by the 7 justices of our Supreme Court. Third phase of my career, I was appointed as chief legal counsel for your friends at the Ohio Department of Taxation, a large agency with 1,400 people. By the time we were done, we had it to less than 1,000. But in that process, I learned what it was like to be the client, because everything we do gets litigated. I tell you that because in the 3 phases of my career, as it relates to the courtroom, I know what it's like to sit at counsel's table. I know what it's like to sit in the back of the courtroom as a client, fingers crossed that you get a fair decision. And I also know what it's like to sit on that bench. I think it's important that we have a strong judge here in Pickaway County. I'm doing that because I think I'm that person. But you have to understand the court. When we think of that court, the first thing we all think about is criminal sentencing and having a tough judge. And I think that's the easiest part of the job, quite frankly. But there's 3 legs to that stool. If you look at the Supreme Court's data for 2023, 221 civil cases, 224 criminal cases, and 199 domestic relations cases. It's a 3-legged stool. And with the domestic relations cases, most all of them, I think, involve 2 people, many more if we're talking about children. More people are touched by the domestic relations court than anything else, the other 2 combined. No more than anywhere in Pickaway County than people in this room, growth and development. The civil cases that come before that court are important. You know, I kind of got the vibe when I was on the zoning commission. You know, we're dealing with murders and rapists down here. You know, we really don't have a lot of time for that. No disrespect to your solicitor, but those cases are vastly important. Those decisions are permanent, and they really affect Pickaway County. We have so much growth and development, and you guys understand even more than I do. But we also have small businesses, large and small, and the civil court is where people get their controversies heard. So I just give you a little bit of that background. I appreciate the opportunity to speak it. Any questions?
We're not loud.
You're not allowed? Okay.
Good luck.
Well, thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Okay, moving on down to our business items. We, starting first, we have Sarah Turner is here this evening. Sarah is running for the Pickaway County Recorder. She's a Republican primary candidate. Sarah, come on up.
Hello, everyone. Thank you for letting me come out tonight and speak for just a moment. Take up much of your time rather than you here tonight. My name is Sarah Turner, and I have actually currently been working for the county recorder for almost a decade now, about 9 years total. Joyce Gifford is retiring, and I do have her endorsement. And a lot of people don't understand what we do at the recorder's office, and hopefully, as many of you do, and Wendy actually files quite a few things with us. But we record those real estate documents. We have to make sure those things are done accurately and filed appropriately to make sure for future that they're always going to be accessible and easy to find for the public for many purposes. Attorneys use our office, the general public uses our office, genealogists use our office, and many, many more. Easements, plats, deeds, mortgages, liens, and encumbrances against your home, those are filed with us for safekeeping. Our office has been ran for Ms. Gifford for quite some time now, almost 40 years, and she's done a wonderful job, as I believe everybody would attest to. There's nothing I would change really in the office, but of course I would continuously move us forward. We already have plans of upgrading our website, so things can be a little bit more transparent for the public, as everything is available for the public as far as what we record, how much money we bring in for the county. Not everyone knows where to find those things. As our community grows and all of that with our politics, taxes are rising. People really want to see where their tax dollars are going to. So I believe that is a really important thing to implement. And that is something that I can do as a future recorder. We do not set policy, but we do follow a strict set of guidelines set in place by the ORC and also by our Pickaway County conveyance standards that the auditor and the engineer set for us. So that's an important thing a lot of people don't know. Whereas we can't change our taxes and things like that, it's still very vital to our system, to our economy, to real estate, to keep it moving forward, that the job is done the correct way it should be. And I believe my 9 years of experience and knowledge can help that move forward. But that's all I can just say. Thank you so much for your time.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, up next, we have the 5K event presentation.
I'm tired already.
We can watch 1,000 kids do it. My name is Susan Ron, the 4th grade teacher at Scioto, and I'm this year's co-director of the Viking 5K. This year, our race is Tuesday, May 21st. Our proceeds this year are going to Haven House in Circleville. We know we have some students who are taking advantage of Haven House's services right now, so it seems like a good fit for us. And yes, there will probably be 1,000 people taking to the streets of Commercial Point. Our 3rd through 8th graders participate. Their parents participate. We have our K2 kids make signs, and there are spectators. What we need from the council is we need to close Scioto Street from Scioto Green to our driveway for about an hour and a half to make sure everybody's safe on the course. Our Pickaway County Sheriff's Office has kind of taken that over for me. They are very good about making sure that everybody is where they are supposed to be and nobody's where they're not supposed to be. We've got plenty of staff lining the course to keep everybody safe. We do need that stretch closed for about an hour and a half. I know Ross always likes to know that so he can rearrange things over there. So, and we do let the Scioto Green folks know. We have a couple of parent contacts that will make sure on social media that those folks know that the street will be closed for about an hour and a half. Does everybody have a copy of the map, or do they need one?
Everybody,
That's very well done. I appreciated knowing that how far I had to go to be as tired as I feel. It's really nice.
So, Ross,
Yeah.
I can sign you up. They start March 1st.
But I do want to note, I appreciate, I'll pass word on to the postal service, even though I'm way retired. But it would be good to make a note. I'll let them know about this. Is there a number that I can have for them to call for
Sure.
timing information?
740-983-4211.
4211, that gets right to
It's
you?
right to my desk.
That's perfect. That's all I need. Thank you
All right,
very
thank
much.
you.
Thank you.
does any of council have any other additional questions? I mean, this is what, about the 3rd year,
This is
4th
the
year?
9th year.
Thank you.
For you, Alan.
We're really hoping, Betsy Rich is retired. I'm really hoping to make it a 10.
Yes.
Yeah, it's been every year we have a little bit of a change. Finally, last year we closed the streets.
Yeah, we went ahead and council closed the streets last year.
Yeah.
We had, the street department had out some signs.
Yeah.
They also brought made sure they were available. They, I think Mike actually pulled a truck up and blocked some of the streets. We had police officers out there taking care of it. So we're trying to do a little bit better job. In order to do this, I need approval from council. We need a motion to allow the
So
5K
moved.
run to close the streets.
I second.
We have a motion by Ross and we have a second by Audrea. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passed. We will, we'll be in touch with you probably and just make sure we get all this set up. The chief will make sure we've got some people here and the street department will see about getting all the roads closed. And Ross, you said you will contact the
Yes, I
post
will.
office on that one. Okay, and we'll make sure the chief can get a hold of the fire department, let them know as well, so we make sure we get. everyone.
Ashley Loper has done that.
Okay,
My-
I'll still get
My
on that.
co-counsel has taken care of that, I think.
I'll still reach out to Chief Klein. and just
Perfect.
Double check.
Okay, great, thank you. Okay, next thing up we have is the K-Nova rezoning. As you will see, they had presented us their rezoning packet and Bruce had talked to everyone in the committee of the whole meeting. And one change that came across was, it was brought up about the building located in some of the wooded area. He submitted a new one. I guess I did not submit that back to any of the council members. It was basically one, if you've got a copy, the updated one, it's basically what, you took out one building?
We removed the one building that was encroaching on the existing single area. Everything else remained the same.
Everyone also should have received a copy of the development standards text. the updated version, but that came out with the council packet. I will say that he did address every concern that I had. Appreciate that. I don't know if the rest of the council had any other concerns or issues, questions.
If it would be helpful, I can just go over what changes we made in case people didn't get a chance to look at the red lines. So the big takeaways from the meeting with council members during the COW, we wanted it limited only to potential data center end users. So we took out all reference to any other end use. So should this be rezoned, the only potential development partners that we can bring in are those that would be looking to further the data center usage here in the village. And then we also had one section where we removed any reference to potential, I believe the wording was to allow it to be assigned. Yes, that was your comment. So we removed the assignment language. Other than that, I think we covered all of the issues, but I did want to see whether or not council had any others. And of course,
I just, just some for clarification on this, and under number 9, well, A9, where it talks about further utilities may be permitted above ground where absolutely necessary to facilitate. Who determines what's absolutely necessary?
it would be in the determination of the developer. So that language is parodied from the development text for the property that was transferred to the north.
Yeah, I didn't have a say on that one because I was village administrator then. I have a say now.
No, there was the development text when the modified text that was approved in November of last year also. So that language was put in November of last year. But with that being said, it is what would be necessary, and there are some that cannot be put underground. For instance, but we can tighten that language up. I think I see where you're going. If your concerns are that there's no.
I think that I would like for the village engineer or someone in the position of understanding to have some say and concern about this. That just seemed very nebulous.
Yeah, and I think the intent was that it would give us the opportunity to put, the way it's currently written in the code, we couldn't even have the ability to put it on a major site plan. I think the intent is that this gives us the ability, but still it would need to be approved via the major site plan to meet criteria. But we can tighten that language up if you'd like, Rob.
Okay, now, yeah, just something to think about. And under B, it talks about the drives and multi-purpose paths. Now, and someone's got to help me on this. We said last meeting that we're not going to have walk paths and things like that. Well, what is a multi-purpose path in here that is 10-foot wide that's going to be provided and attached to the 230 for the parcel to the north? And that location to be determined by the property. It won't be on their site, will it?
It will be. So as part of the negotiations for the modified development text for that property to the north last year, council made it clear that they wanted to ensure that there was a connector path from the new subdivision on Durrett Road that would then work its way towards the southerly boundary lines, with the intent that it would eventually connect into the MI subdivision for the connectivity walk path that I know the Parks and Recs Committee has been trying to establish.
I remember some of that discussion, but I'm trying to figure out how in the world is that going to run? And if this is going to be a fenced and perimetered parcel, I don't know, some of that's not making sense to me.
So the idea was, the intent is at least, that there will be a path that will run from the intersection where the new subdivision hits Durrett Road. And then what we weren't sure about is based upon how the lot would lay out, whether it would run to the east or the west to then run along the periphery of the property. As it moves south, then this parcel's obligation would be to pick that up and run it along its periphery, i.e. outside of the perimeter area, to connect further south.
Okay.
So that's the intent behind it.
So that would have to be back by the wooded area then.
Like,
You can't breach their security, right? Because that's a security guarded area.
It it's going to depend on how they choose to develop it. It's going to depend on who that final end user is. I know that the end user we have for the direct road property has not divulged whether or not it's going to run on the east boundary or the west boundary of that property. So I can't tell you at this time. But they do have the obligation to make it happen.
The east boundary being right up against 104?
It would be similar to the, similar to what they've done along 104 to the north, where that residential subdivision is in Grove City.
Southern Point,
No, it's
No,
further
it's the
north.
one just north
I know
of
where
the
it is.
patio homes.
Homestead.
I think, yeah, I
Yeah.
think that's what it's
Okay,
called.
so where the patio
That's
homes are,
Farmstead.
they have their multi-use path that runs along there, so that was the idea.
Okay.
If it had to go there, that's kind of the idea, otherwise it would be on the western part, on the western boundary.
And that's completely on the developer. Council doesn't have any say
On-
on which
on-
side.
On location, no, because we weren't sure from a development standpoint what would be required via engineering and setbacks.
So that won't be on the plat that we, I mean, we're looking at a planned unit,
Well,
a planned industrial unit,
Mhm.
planned industrial development. So I would think that would be on the plan.
So
Doesn't that come later?
ideally, it's going to be based upon the major site plan that comes before council for the direct road property, the one that just was transferred. Once that major site plan comes in, it would then lock this property into where it would have to go. When we bring in the final development plan, which is step 2 after this,
Right.
the plan unit development, should that area be selected, then yes, I think you would see it on that
Okay.
final development plan. Otherwise, it would have to be on that next major site plan.
Okay, under D1,
Yes.
talks about the height of the building, 65 feet, except that doesn't count a 40-foot flagpole on the roof or anything else that's stuck on the roof in the way of attachments. What are we looking at for a maximum?
My understanding is still that 65-foot height, but the parapets and rooftop equipment, sometimes those are AC chillers and such. I can check into that and get back
Just,
to you. if you have some
so
ideas.
it's incidental height, I mean, it's, okay,
Yes, so nothing that would,
machinery,
yeah,
Because it says or structure. So to me, I would think if it's any kind of a structure on that.
I mean, but a flagpole, you put a 50-foot flagpole on top of that, that's
Yeah,
pretty
but
good.
that's a structure. So it can't
Well, I was assuming
exceed
it is.
over that,
Okay,
right?
okay.
That's just my take on it.
On the lot coverage, you're looking at 80% of the lot. So of 240 some acres, we're looking at 200 acres being covered with buildings and blacktop.
correct. That is
Okay.
what we've requested as the maximum coverage.
Okay, so if we get if we get 1 inch of rain in 1 hour, that's 5,500,000 gallons of water that's going to fall on a hard surface. And I don't see enough retention ponds to take care of that.
Well, for that, I would tell you that from my perspective, that's an engineering solution that would come during the next phase.
Yeah.
And while it says that they can go up to that, if they can't engineer sufficiently to
I mean, that's what I was waiting to hear.
yeah, so it's still required to be reviewed by the technical review committee when the major site plan comes in, the engineering group, but obviously, I will tell you that I have seen engineering solutions for everything. They just usually have more dollar signs. There's always a way. It's just
Yeah,
how much money you wanna
you're-
throw. But with that being said, it would still have to be something that your technical review committee, the engineer signs off on, and then obviously council in the end would have to be able to sign off and agree with that engineering plan.
That's just a terrific amount of water that has to be handled and going through what we have right now is going through the industrial park. Is where it would have to go. It's the only way out of there. And I don't see it being set up to handle that. So just kind of put that in the thought. The signage, you can have a maximum of 285 square. That's a sign bigger than this room.
Correct, front and back, but yes, I think is the way, because you have to count both sides. So it's technically 140 square feet of sign on both sides.
Okay,
So
and then
10 by
so
14.
total display area, so we can have a sign that's 40 feet long as long as the display area is only a smaller part in that. That's, I don't know, this, it just leaves me with concerns that we're
Can you
leaving
compare
too many
that sign to
decisions.
the other one? That's on the other side of the road? Are you asking for a lot more signage?
No, it's basically the same size, display area wise, as the one across, is my understanding, but I can verify that.
The bath and body? Is that-
Yeah,
Okay, but if we have no retail, no sales, no, we're talking a minimum amount of people here that all know where they're going to work. How big of a sign do we need to show somebody else where to turn?
no worries.
And I kind of agree with that, because if we're saying that we're only zoning it for data center only,
That's-
you shouldn't need a giant sign. That's just my opinion.
Could block
Well,
you.
Well, besides that,
Trying to
yeah,
turn the stop
I
sign.
mean, well, it could, but
Yeah.
if we're getting rid of a lot of trees, that's gonna like really stick out, as well as the building, you know what I mean? Like, just imagine the whole thing being flat, like Ross said, and then seeing that big giant sign. It's a little off-putting, so maybe a smaller sign.
Fair enough.
Or signage just on the building? I mean, if it's a 65-foot tall building,
Yeah,
a
if
sign's
it's-
gonna be seen for
That's
quite a
true.
while. You're not putting 40-foot mounds in front of this anymore, right?
I think not, well, direct roadside, yes, I think they're still obligated to put in a mound to block, well, no, on this property, there's not, I'm sorry. I'll have to see, I thought there was a requirement that we do market at the road with some sort of a signage in the industrial park for the zoning code. I think that we were looking for a larger entrance to that. We can see if we can go smaller, and we can see if we can negate it at all. That'll just be a
Okay.
question for the designers and the end user.
It says that parking spaces, no, I'm sorry, I hit up myself here. Directional signage may be permitted at any property entrance. It shows one.
Correct.
So why do we need to limit it to one? Or why do we need to have,
Is there potential for another entrance, I
That was
guess?
That's my knowledge.
Okay.
okay, it just-
So I will tell you that what we tried to do was to take as much of the exact language from what was the text that we submitted last November.
Yeah.
And that's probably just a carryover. We can definitely change that to the entrance instead of any entrance.
If this, by some change, I know ultimately you're hoping to have the same user on the property to the north and this property. If in fact that happens, would there even be a need for an entrance, or would they probably be tying them together with private drives?
I would think that they would still need probably a fire
think they'll-
access
I-
entrance.
I-
in
that
that
would be,
area.
that would be my concern with it.
And depending on how it breaks down, I'm sure they would need some sort of an entrance. What that would, it may change a lot as far as how
Yeah.
wide it would need to be and those sorts of things. Again, I think that's more of a, probably a major site plan.
Yeah.
Maybe a final development plan, but definitely a major site plan decision.
If that happens, would there be a need for another sign?
Potentially, no. I mean, all of this stuff, obviously signs cost money. So they're only gonna put one up if they really think they need it. They're not super interested in advertising, but we, at least for these, they're not trying to promote who it is. But again, I think the sign language, if I'm right, Ross, actually was a copy and paste from the original Rickenbacker Exchange subdivision sign to the modified zoning text sign and it's gotten carried over. But like I said, I'm happy to go back and see if we can
Yeah,
minimize.
and if there is something like, what the folks at Van Trust did, it was, when they were proposing a sign, they said, well, we've got them like over here and like this. So I was able to go and take a look and say, oh yeah, that fits.
Mhm.
And if you have places like that, then I'd
We
like
would
to.
still have to do that, right? This is just getting us to the foundational building block of what is possible.
Yeah.
It still has to be finally approved, because I think
Sure.
if you go back and look at the zoning text that is covering that east side property, right? it's going to have similar language, but just as they had to come and say, okay, this is what we finally decided on here, you can go look at X, Y, and Z. That's what the point we're trying to get to. We're not going to be able at this stage to bring you what the sign's going to look like, because I don't know who's going to be there, who could.
Just size wise is
But
all.
we can try to minimize the size for sure.
You have other locations that are like, hey, it's going to be like this, then
Yeah, and
Yeah,
again,
examples would be good.
yeah, I don't know if we can try, and we don't know the final end use
Sure.
of this
I got it.
property, so I don't know if I can, but we can at least try to make the size smaller for sure.
thank you, Bruce. I appreciate your kindness. in putting up with-
Willingness to work with us.
Yes.
We'll do what we can for sure.
Thank you.
Anybody else have any questions or concerns about the text or the plan that we might be able to address?
What was your timeline that you have the option to? Was that April?
As far as I can say, yes, I believe it was April. So we are relatively constrained on the process we're trying to undertake.
And I would remind council, with what was handed to you, once this goes to, if approved, and it goes to technical review group, if they find anything that's majorly different, like the number of buildings change or anything like
Right.
that, as council's done in the past, it comes right back here and council has to reapprove it because it's considered a major change. So this just kind of gives them a starting point, a jump off point, and
For this, you actually get two bites at that. So you get the final development plan that'll come before council before it goes to the technical review committee. And then you'll get a major site plan that also has to comply with whatever. So you get a bunch of bites of making sure that whatever this is complies and also aesthetically appeases the village and complies with what the intent was. So I think that there are quite a few, more hoops for us to jump through. But I can see what your points on those issues, and we'll definitely get some of them addressed, and I can at least get your feedback on the others.
I appreciate your help. Thank you.
if you can get me a electronic copy of the updated wording, and we will put that in, there will be a public hearings. The public hearing is scheduled for the rezoning at our next committee of the whole meeting, which is
26th at 6:30.
the 26th at 6:30. And then there will be a special meeting where we will be doing a first reading. So I will need that language prior to then.
If I get it to you by Thursday this week, is that sufficient?
That'll
We'll
work.
incorporate all the changes that we can also make. That way we know where they're at.
That'll be fine, and I'll get that, and we can go ahead and pass it on to the council.
Thank you very much for your time. And if there's
Thank you,
anything that comes
thank
up
you.
afterwards, of course, you guys know you can always reach out. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, moving on. GoGov discussion. I was asked at the last committee of the whole meeting to check with Paul. He's been doing our IT work, and he's related, or the company was called Fusion Alliance. They've changed names. I'm not sure what the new name is. But I did ask Paul if he'd take a look at this and give some input. He wasn't real familiar with this type of activity, but he did check it out, and he did make some phone calls to some of the other municipalities that he works with. And I know one of them he works with is Chillicothe. But he talked to some of the other municipalities and showed them this or whatever. And their response was, we really like this, and can you get us more information? So if nothing else, they may be getting some more customers because of the contact with them. So evidently there's some other people looking at going down this road as well. But he didn't say anything wrong with it that stood out to him or anything, but he wasn't that familiar with it.
I also contacted Pataskala. Pataskala is currently using this app, and she's very knowledgeable. Talked to her 15, 20 minutes, and she loves the app. They've not had any problems. If they have had a problem, they're right on it. She said they have a website that's updated, like ours, and she said it works very well with it. So they really like it. So I thought that was to hear from someone that was actually using it.
I did ask our solicitor to go ahead and put together a resolution to at least do a first reading on this, if this is how council wishes to move forward, if this is who they wish to go with. Is there any more discussion on this social media app at this time?
No.
Okay. Next item, Station House 81 liquor license hearing request. The there were at the station house, we had two guys down there. There was John and Steve, whose both of their names was on the license. John has since left the station house and he's working with Steve at another location. So anytime there's a change to a liquor license, council has the opportunity to request a public hearing in front of the liquor board, state liquor board. This, like I said, and this change is nothing but a name change. They're taking John's name off the license. It'll just be strictly Steve's name on the license. So does council have any reason to request, or does anyone want to request a hearing at the state liquor board on this?
No, thank you.
Adam, have we had any extended issues or anything with Station House 81 that need addressed?
None. This is the two gentlemen that are involved with it. They're the basis what I'd probably judge how others are ran as far as if there's an issue or whatever, they won't hesitate to contact us, go through whatever they got to do. So we have no issues with them whatsoever.
No.
Okay. Then we'll go ahead and send the paperwork in, let the state know that we're not requesting a public hearing. Next item, we have a conversation dealing with a lawsuit settlement. Nancy?
Yes, I hereby make a motion to enter into executive session under Ohio Revised Code Section 121.22 G3 to confer with attorneys. I would also like the fiscal officer for the village and the mayor for the village of Commercial Point concerning disputes involving the village that are subject of imminent court action.
Okay, we have a motion on the floor to enter into executive session by Nancy. Is there a second?
Yeah.
Second by Eric. Roll call vote to enter into executive session.
Laura,
Yes.
Jay,
Yes.
Andrea,
Yes.
Ross,
Yes.
Nancy,
Yes.
Eric.
Yes.
Motion passed. Let the record reflect we moved into executive session at 7:41.
I'll try again
Okay, at this time, do I have a motion to return from executive session? I have a motion by Ross. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Laura. Roll call vote to return from executive session.
Jay,
Yes.
Ross.
Yes.
Eric,
Yes.
Andrea.
Yep.
Laura,
Yes.
Nancy.
Yes.
Let the record reflect, council returned from executive session at 7:58. Moving down to legislation. Up first, we have ordinance number 2024-01, an ordinance making Third Street one-way going south and declaring an emergency.
Motion to suspend.
Okay, I have a motion to suspend the three readings by Ross. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Nancy. Roll call vote to suspend the three readings.
Ross,
Yes.
Andrea,
Yes.
Eric,
Yes.
Jay,
Yes.
Laura,
Yes.
Nancy.
Yes.
Motion passed. Do I have a motion to adopt ordinance 2024-01?
So moved.
Have a motion by Laura. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Eric. Roll call vote to adopt.
Nancy,
Yes.
Laura,
Yes.
Jay,
Yes.
Ross,
Yes.
Eric,
Yes.
Andrea.
Motion passed. Next item up for a first reading is resolution 03-2024. A resolution authorizing and directing the village administrator to enter into an agreement with GoGov. Is there any more discussion on this? Okay, let the record reflect we did a first reading title only. Up for a second reading this evening is resolution 02-2024, a resolution appointing Councilman Nungaster as the village representative to the Pickaway County 911 Advisory Committee for 2024 and declaring an emergency.
Motion to waive.
I have a motion to waive the three readings by Nancy. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Laura. Roll call vote to waive the three readings.
Ross,
Yes.
Eric,
Abstain.
Andrea,
Yes.
Jay,
Yes.
Laura,
Yes.
Nancy.
Yes.
Motion passed. Do I have a motion to adopt resolution 02-2024?
Motion.
I have a motion by Andrea. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Jay. Roll call vote to adopt.
Eric,
Abstain.
Andrea,
Yes.
Nancy,
Yes.
Ross,
Yes.
Laura,
Yes.
Jay.
Yes. Motion passed. Moving on, there is no pending administrative action this evening. Does council have any additional business at this time? Okay, do I have a motion to adjourn the meeting?
So moved.
I have a motion by Laura. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Andrea. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Yeah.
Motion passed. The meeting is adjourned.
Okay.